In this video, we'll discuss about what is crystallization and how to prepare plaster of Paris and what are the uses of plaster of Paris. We discussed about salts. For example, you take salt, sodium chloride, and you take 1 spoon of salt and you place it on a paper, and after few minutes if you observe, the paper absorbs water from the salt, or otherwise you can find out the paper becomes wet. You can observe the paper becomes wet. How does the paper absorbs water? Because the salts, they contain some water molecule. Any salt you take, here I gave example of sodium chloride. So any salt, they contain water molecules in a fixed ratio. So this is known as water of crystallization. Means any salt, it contains water molecules in a fixed ratio. This is known as water of crystallization. For this, whether the salts contain water or not, for this we have to do a small activity. What is that? For example, you take a tissue, take test tube, dry test tube you take it, and in that you take calcium sulfate. What is that? Calcium sulfate. Sorry, copper sulfate, not calcium. Copper sulfate salt you take in the dry test tube, and with the help of the Bunsen burner, and hold this test tube with the tongs and heat it. After some time, actually the color of the copper sulfate is in blue color. It is in blue color. After some time, when you heat it, then you will get the sulfate, copper sulfate salt changes into white color. There is a change in the color of the salt, and at the time you can observe some water droplets at the sides of these test tubes. Some water droplets at the sides of the test tube. Means here, when there is a water molecule to that salt, it is giving blue color, and when you remove the water molecules from the salt, there is a change in the color. So this is known as removing water of crystallization. This is known as removing water of crystal. Means when you heat it, the water molecules evaporates, then you will get only salt. So the removing of water molecules is known as the from the salts. And if you observe, the salts are in the crystal form only. Sugar crystals, salt crystal, we will use this. Means very smooth surface, a shining surface. When light falls on the surface, it emits brightly. We'll call it as luster. We'll call it as luster, that one. And if you take different salts, here we in our textbook they are given 3 salts. Suppose for example, if you take copper sulfate, it contains, that the salt contains 5 water molecules. It contains how many water molecules? 5 water molecules. Means in the preparation, in that copper sulfate crystals, the ratio should be 5 only. The ratio is fixed. If you take 1 crystal of copper sulfate salt, it contains 5 water molecules. Now, if you take the sodium carbonate, it contains 10 water molecules. So, these are very important in bits. They may ask, so how many number of water molecules are present in the sodium carbonate? Means 10. How many water molecules are present in the copper sulfate? 5. Next, gypsum. In that, what is the chemical formula? Calcium CaSO4 combines, means it contains 2 water molecules. So how many water molecules are present in the gypsum? 2. So this is about the water of crystallization. Here I wrote the definition. It is the fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt is known as water of it is known as water of crystallization. Now last one in the lesson 3 is how to prepare this plaster of Paris and what are the uses of this plaster of Paris. This is very important question. Number of times they asked this question. Write the preparation and uses. So how to prepare this plaster of Paris? You take gypsum. This gypsum means it contains calcium sulfate along with the two water molecules. This one is heated at 373 Kelvin temperature. This gypsum is heated at 373 degrees Kelvin temperature. Then if heated, some water molecules are evaporated. Then we get some chemical compound that is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. We get calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Actually this equation is given reverse. When you take the gypsum and if it is heated at 373, we get these products, this calcium sulfate hemihydrate. This calcium sulfate hemihydrate is known as plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris. What is the other name of plaster of Paris? Calcium sulfate hemihydrate. What is the formula of plaster of Paris? CaSO4 half H2O. It contains only half water molecule. And what are the uses of this plaster of Paris? Mainly, doctors are used this plaster of Paris in the fracture of bones, hand fractures, leg fractures, any fractures. This plaster of Paris is used to set that bones. And next, is actually plaster of Paris is a white powder. When it is mixed with water, it becomes very hard. It becomes very hard. And this hard solid mass is used uh, in the preparation of toys and and in Vinayaka Chavati, in the preparation of idols, Vinayaka idol and that Durga Mata idol, this plaster of Paris is used. And in the house construction of the houses also to get the smoothness of these walls, they're making smooth with this plaster of Paris. And the roof, for the decoration purpose, in this roofs, in the ceilings, they're using this plaster of Paris. And that only here, these are all the uses for the